Hello all, welcome back to New Chapters. My name is Sarah, and if this is your first time joining me, I just want to say thank you for stopping by for this chapter of my life. I'm a hobby hopper, so if this isn't the content you usually watch me for, I hope you enjoy this hobby as well, and will stick around for today's video. Today I'm going to be doing a WIP&Chat on my Enablers Outpost Winter Girl kit. I have a short that I will be adding that shows me kind of getting this kit prepped and ready to go. I did want to show you guys, I did write on the bottom, on the back side of the canvas, the name of this kit, which is the Winter Girl. It's an image from Shutterstock. It's from the company Enablers Outpost. The dimensions of the image are 60 by 80 and there are 37 colors. So the reason that I did that is my intention with this canvas is to paint the edges of it once it's completed. And once I've painted those edges, obviously you're not going to be able to see the like legend anymore or any of the information about the name of the kit. So I figured if I were to go ahead and write it on the back side before I start putting diamonds on it, that way I still have access to that information if I need it later. Like I want to be able to reference the kit for some reason, or I want to have any of those details. Since I don't keep a logbook, it just made the most sense to me to go ahead and write it on the back. And again, I figure if I do it now before I put any drills on it, it's easier to write on. I did make sure that I wrote it still in the margins of the canvas. That way, when I do paint over it, you can't see it through like the canvas or the picture or anything like that. So, as I said, today we're going to be doing a WIP&Chat. I have a tray just from Amazon here that I might use for some of this, but I actually have a new tray for me. This is a tray from Firefly Diamond Art. It is their element tray, so it has this 3D printed lid. And then this is one of the trays that has multiple bases. So there's a little like trash container right here. There's a place for your pin. There's a little lever that you can open and close here for the spout. So if you take this tray here and you flip it upside down, there's a little hole that you can pop out the bottom. And then it has these different tray bottoms. So you have the single placing grid, you have this multi-placing grid, and then you have the standard generic lines that you can use. So it has multiple different options depending on how you prefer to diamond paint. So I'm pretty excited to get started using that one. And then there is also this from Firefly. So they have a diamond grinder. So you can go ahead and place any drills that might be sticking together in here. You give it a twist, and then you are good to go on that as well. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys my pin. So I have this pin from Diamond Art Club here. I do have their their stainless steel metal placer in this end here. I did break it. I dropped it and broke this side of it. So I took out the single placer that comes in the pin and replaced it with the metal one on this side. And then nothing really fits in that side now because it is broken. But I'll be using that. And then I will be using this Duck brand poster putty in my pin. So I will go ahead and get my pin loaded up. And I will kind of get things set up here. And then we will go ahead and I'll bring you closer and we will start on this WIP&Chat. All right, so this is my first ever WIP&Chat as well as my first large sized canvas. So this is going to be a learning experience for everyone. I do have this currently just kind of hanging off my table into my lap. I thought I'd be okay with that, truthfully. I feel a little insecure about it. I don't love having it dangling off the table, like with my knees pushing it back in towards the center of my table here. But it is what it is for right now, at least. I think some of it is since I went ahead and put all the release papers on it, I'm kind of afraid that I'm going to end up rubbing across one of these release paper seams and I'm going to end up getting some fuzz in my diamond painting, which is not what I'm intending to do here. But before we get started, I'll go ahead and show you guys. So this is what my kit ended up looking like at the end in my Elizabeth Ward tray here. I did go ahead and put all of the extra 939s just in some containers rather than leaving them in the baggies that they came in. But I did organize them all by letters and then by numbers and then symbols that made sense to me. So hopefully they're a little bit easier for me to find. As I mentioned in my kit up video, this is going to be my first poured glue kit, my first round diamond painting. As I just mentioned, it's my first larger size diamond painting as well. So we'll see how this all goes. All right, so here is my first section. And I didn't actually fill up my pin yet. So I just, as I said, use that duck poster putty. And I probably have enough to last me a lifetime at this point. I'm just going to peel off a little bit. Actually, I don't even need as big of a chunk as what I grabbed there. And I tend to kind of ball it up here, and then I try to kind of place it just in the tip there in the center, and then I will rub it against my thumb to kind of break the edge off. Kind of use it almost like a knife to cut it. And I did completely clear out the wax from this pen. I'd had some pretty old gunky wax in here. And I say wax, but really I mean this putty. So it might take me a second to actually get this guy filled back up because it's going to want to keep popping out of the bottom here if I don't get it cut off well enough with my finger. All right, there we go. Got a little bit there in the bottom, and then I can build from there. All right. So my plan and my hope is to be able to do WIP&Chats weekly. I plan to probably film them a little bit in advance of when you guys see them. That way I can talk about things that are going on, not just last week and catching up, but things that are going on this week, and I won't have to worry about saying like, oh, I'm going to this event or this thing and potentially cause any sort of like safety concerns. Just so that it's a little bit more secure where I'm going to be and all that kind of stuff. I just don't want to tell you where I'm going to be this coming week and then all of a sudden somebody shows up there. So just for kind of, again, safety and security, I'm going to go ahead and probably try to film the, let's see, not the weekend before I post, but the weekend before that. So that means you guys will be seeing this about 2 weeks after I actually film it. So with that being said, I will kind of give you guys a little bit of some information about me. So as you might know, I started my channel when I quit my job. So I was working for a government agency in a corrections program, teaching groups and classes to people who were in a facility. And I loved that job, but I was finding that my mental health was declining pretty rapidly from some burnout from a previous job that I just hadn't really dealt with. So I was having difficulties kind of getting up and getting to work on time and things like that. And so I just decided that I wanted to kind of take a break, and that's when I started my YouTube channel. So, whoops, got some stragglers coming out here. This is the first time I've used this tray, so I'm not exactly sure how well it's going to go. Okay, so when I left that job, that's when I started my YouTube channel, as I said. So I ended up kind of focusing on this for a little bit. This has been, I mean, ideally, I would love to make YouTube a full-time job. I know that that's going to take a while if it happens at all. And so not banking on that currently as my only form of employment by any means, but it is something that I've kind of been delving into because I've had that time and that opportunity to kind of learn. But I do, well, I guess I should say I did have, I'm filming this not on the weekend, I'm filming it on a Wednesday this week. So Monday I had an interview for a full-time position with a mental health agency. If you guys have ever heard of like a crisis response team, It's just those teams of people that go out either with law enforcement or sometimes in lieu of law enforcement to like respond to mental health crises situations, and so that law enforcement doesn't necessarily have to get involved. Man, I am really struggling with this putty. Maybe I should have left the other putty in there. But basically, the mental health team will go out and respond to a situation where law enforcement is not necessary to hopefully keep people from having to get involved with law enforcement or uh, have to go to the hospital or something like that because of a crisis that they're having. So that's the position that I had a phone interview for on Monday, and then I have a full-fledged interview on Friday. So I'm looking forward to that. I am hoping that that's something that I can secure. I definitely don't want to have to go back to work, um, especially since I was having difficulties with getting up and things like that at my last job. This shift is a little bit different, so I'm not as worried about getting up. It's a little bit later in the day, so I don't have to worry about having to get up at like 8 o'clock or early, be at work, I guess, at 8 o'clock and get up even earlier than that. So that's helpful. And I am looking forward to that possibility if I can secure this position. Oh man, I am really struggling with this putty today, guys. I know it's just because it's brand new and it has not been exposed to the air yet, so it's very tacky. I might actually have to like rub it on my pants or something and kind of get a little bit of the stickiness off of it. But with the hours of this job, I'm hopeful that it's something that I can actually do long term and not be too concerned about burnout or having to get up earlier in the morning. I mean, I know everybody has, an 8 to 5 job or a 9 to 5 job, right? Like that's a normal expected hour for a shift. But I am such a night owl that, like, if I start to get burnout or my mental health starts to decline, the first thing that goes is my ability to get up in the morning and get to work on time, which is not great for working. So I am very excited about the possibility of something that gives me some different working hours that are just better suited to me and my needs. So I'm hopeful that I can secure this position. And I said I have my interview for it on Friday. So my next WIP&Chat, I will definitely give you guys an update as to where I'm at on that. Again, I would love to make YouTube a full-time career, but I know that that's not something that happens overnight. That's more of a long-term goal that I would have. So hopefully you guys can help me make that dream a reality at some point in time. But I'm being realistic about, how long that might take or what that might look like. At least I hope I'm being realistic about it. All right. I will say I do like this tray so far. I don't know that I did a great job of shaking everything out to the way it should be, but I do like that it's just giving me just individual single drills to place, and it's really easy for me to tell if like a drill is too big or too small or isn't quite has like some trash pieces on it or something, just because I can, it doesn't fit in the container very well. Oh man, I am really struggling with this putty. It is so sticky. Funnily enough, it's not sticking to the inside of the pin very well, but it's sticking to the drill very well. So dabbed it on my shirt sleeve here a little bit, so maybe I can place a couple of these diamonds down before I feel like the stickiness is getting lost. We shall see. So obviously this is my first WIP&Chat, so I would love to get to know you guys a little bit more. Clearly I'm talking about my job and my aspirations and work and things like that right now. So tell me about your guys' jobs. What do you guys do for a living? What fields are you in? What are you studying in school if you're not in a working field quite yet? What kind of job are you hoping to get? My background is in criminal justice. That is what my degree is in. Definitely grew up watching things like Criminal Minds and really loving that show. And that kind of was part of what sparked me, getting into this field. Another thing was I had a class in high school, had an option to take, like a home ec cooking class or a criminal justice class. And I wasn't really that interested in either one, to be completely honest. But again, because of my love of Criminal Minds and shows like that, NCIS, CSI, things of that nature, I thought Criminal Minds, I thought the criminal justice class would be a little bit more interesting. Turns out I did think it was more interesting, and that was what I ended up studying in college. I kind of waffled back and forth actually between criminal justice and like sociology or social work, something kind of along those lines. Um, but the program that I ended up completing my degree through only had criminal justice. They didn't have like a sociology. Well, I guess that's not true. The first college that I went to didn't have a criminal justice program. They only had a sociology program. And then the second school that I went to, where I completed my degree, they had both. And I decided I had taken a couple of like criminal justice specific sociology classes, and I seemed to enjoy those pretty well. So I went ahead and switched my major when I switched colleges, and finished out my degree in criminal justice. So that's what my bachelor's degree is in. Um, so kind of set myself on this path that's unfortunately pretty saturated with government work, and that means that most jobs are the typical, again, 8 to 5, 9 to 5, 8 to 4 kinds of hours, which really just is not great for me when I am struggling with my mental health. And that's something that I've been dealing with, like burnout specifically, quite a lot over the last year and a half or so. It stems from not even my previous job, but the job before that. But I never really took the time to like take a break and deal with it between my two jobs. And so when I started my last job, I started already in burnout. Like I did not at any point not feel burnt out, which is unfortunate because I really liked the team I was working with, and I did like the job I was doing. I just hated the hours because it was a struggle for me to get up. And what I found while being off here, and not being employed by anybody right now, is really what's funny to me is what I miss the most, which kind of helps me know that it probably really is my calling, is the clients. Um, Definitely miss like getting updates on how everybody's doing and progress that they're making or not making, um, and kind of just those daily interactions. That's what I actually miss the most about my job. So I think that this sort of position that I've applied to would be similar in terms of getting to work with clients in a similar capacity. So I'm looking forward to that possibility. And again, I am hopeful that I can secure this position. Man, this putty is going to be the death of me. I should not have tossed all of my old putty. I was like, it's all old. It's not going to be sticky anymore. I should go ahead and throw away the stuff from my last canvas that I was working on. Turns out that was not at all accurate. I had thought about getting some questions kind of together and kind of doing like a Q&A style again, about myself. Have a little more direction for this WIP&Chat, but I figured I'd rip off the band-aid of just kind of talking to you guys without any sort of script, because I probably won't in the future. And if you watched my kit up video for this particular kit, you will have seen that I have like an hour and a half worth of content about my diamond painting preferences and different things about like 2023 diamond painting. So I figured I'd done my due diligence of kind of doing a scripted video. So I figure I would, as I said, just kind of talk to you guys, give you a little bit of an update about job things, since that's part of my, new chapters, is my new chapter without a job. So it's been a short-lived chapter, perhaps. Again, kind of what I'm hoping for. Not that I am necessarily super eager to get back to work, but unfortunately, you need money to live in our world and in our society. So as my funds are dwindling, I'm like, all right, it's time to get back to doing something. And again, I'm hoping that the hours for this position that I have an interview for work well for me and allow me to keep doing my YouTube stuff without really any concerns, and allow me to, again, not have to worry too much about just like day-to-day motivation to get up and go to work, since that kind of had become an issue at my last job. Man, every time I think maybe I've got the putty where I want it, it just keeps on sticking. I hope you guys like my nails here. I spent way too much time, quite a few hours on them this week. Wanted them to look nice for my job interview. Was very much so feeling like the plaid nail. I'd seen some like teal nails as well recently, so they kind of inspired me to go ahead and pull out the teal color palette for my nails this month. I definitely enjoy doing my nails, but I probably, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago now, got really into doing like gel nail manicures. There we go. Just because I really dislike when I like paint my nails and they chip like a day or two later, especially if I'm doing like nail art and things like that. I definitely hate when I immediately lose all of that work after I spend hours and hours doing my nails. So I like gel nail manicures because I can spend several hours doing them, but I can do them once a month and they last me for that whole month. Now, granted, of course, they'll have grown out by then and stuff like that, and there might be a little bit of chipping depending on how well I've done my nails that particular month, but I like that I get longevity out of it. So I'm totally just going along here like I'm placing these in a good position, but to be honest with you guys, I'm at a little bit of a weird angle trying to film, and as I said, I've never done a round kit before, so I can't really see what I'm doing from a straight on angle. So hopefully these are all pretty well placed because I can't tell. I'm sure as soon as I turn the camera off, I'll be like, and nothing is where I thought it should be. I'm not planning to talk for too long tonight on my WIP&Chat. Just kind of, as I said, breaking the ice, getting myself used to talking for WIP&Chat, honestly. And truthfully, I mean, I talk to my partner and stuff when he gets home from work, but right now, being unemployed, I'm not talking to a lot of people very often. Definitely an introvert, so I've been loving and enjoying my life of not having to interact with anybody for a little bit while I can. So I'm not used to talking too much because I don't really talk to anybody besides my partner and my mom for our weekly phone call. So you'll have to forgive me if there's some like awkward silences that I don't fill because I probably don't even realize that I'm not talking. So used to talking very little right now, which is funny because I am very talkative. And when I get around my people, I will not stop talking. So I'm sure you guys will find that to be the case with me and you guys once I get a little more comfortable and confident talking to the camera and realizing that I'm not just talking to a camera, but I'm actually talking to you guys. Oh, darn it. Ugh, this putty, man. Definitely gonna have to have some older putty when I get to working on other kits that have like ABs. I haven't ever worked on a kit with special drills before, but you know, I hear that ABs are a pain in the butt to work with sometimes because they'll like stick or the coating will come off if everything's a little too sticky. So gonna have to troubleshoot that problem before I start doing that. Make sure I get some older putty and any pens before I use special drills. Right now I'm just kind of wiping it off on my shirt sleeve here and hoping that I get enough of the stickiness off that I can get these drills to release without wiping it off too much for them to not want to stick to begin with. So I asked you guys if you will let me know your occupations or what you're studying for down below in the comment section so I can get to know you guys a little bit better as well. But I would also love for you guys to just let me know, like, what is it that you would like me to talk about or share about, either in my WIP&Chats or just on my channel in general. I would love to hear what you guys would like to know or like to see. I know there's a lot of different diamond painting channels out there, so if there's anything in particular or a little bit more unique that you would be interested in viewing, let me know. I'm working really hard on getting my setup situated, and I'm finding it very difficult to shoot my top-down content like I'm wanting to from my phone. I'm trying to use the back camera because it has, you know, better image quality, but then it means that I can't actually see my camera. And I've been trying various techniques and tips and tricks and apps and hacks and all of those sorts of things to try to be able to see what I'm filming while I'm filming it, so I can make sure that like I'm in center and I'm in focus and that my phone doesn't run out of storage and I'm just talking to myself and things like that. But that is definitely something that is a learning in progress for me. Still trying to figure out how to see myself since I don't have another Apple product to like screen mirror to. So I can't just like set up a monitor to watch myself, which is quite frustrating, but I'm figuring it out. But if my video just gets cut off in the middle, that's why I apparently will have lost my phone data storage, and I will just be sitting here talking to myself, and we'll see how long it takes me to realize that before I realize that I've run out of phone storage space and I'm just talking. I was gonna say I can at least do like one color for you guys, but to be honest with you, I'm gonna run out of space on my phone before I get through it with as much trouble as this putty's given me. I'm not even sure if you guys can see how stringy it is and like how much it's pulling the entire wet or the entire putty out of my pen here. I think it's partially the temperature. It's been a little bit warmer here the last couple of days, so I think as the humidity kind of comes back and the moisture comes back into the air and it's not like dry winter weather, it probably has made this putty, which again is also fresh putty, so I should expect it to be stickier and tackier and all that kind of stuff. But it definitely is not helping that the air is probably not nearly as dry as it has been. So it's not drying out my putty very quickly. I'm going to place a couple more drills down here, and then I'm going to take just a second just to double check and make sure my camera's still recording. Knowing my luck, it probably has already stopped, and I've just been sitting here chatting to myself for the last 5-10 minutes with no clue that I'm not recording. But again, all part of that learning process and that learning curve, right? All right, I will be right back, guys. Well, I learned that apparently I've been a tiny bit crooked this whole time, and you guys can't even see my beautiful tray here as I've been picking from it. Again, a part of me kind of learning and figuring this all out as I go, hopefully. But I am going to go ahead and stop here for right now. So this will be kind of a shorter WIP&Chat video for you guys, and I'll take a picture of this section once I've finished it and kind of straighten out all my drills and all of that. But thank you guys so much for watching. If this is your first time watching, I hope you'll consider liking and subscribing this video. If you're looking for more content related to this chapter of my life, please check out my diamond painting playlist, which I will have linked in the video. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content about this chapter and others. Please leave me any comments or questions that you do have down below, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.